Hi there, I'm Jamie Taylor. Welcome to Your Health Matters, brought to you by Kingman Regional Medical Center, your not-for-profit community-owned hospital. This program is going to be focusing on services and physicians in our community that are going to answer questions you might have about your health. We hope you'll find it informative and interesting, and you'll stay tuned. We'll be right back after these messages. Welcome back to Your Health Matters. I'm glad you could join us today. My guest is Tony Harris. She's the Director of Respiratory Services. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you.
I'm glad you could be here today.
I'm glad I could be here.
And I want to just, first of all, explain to people respiratory services. That's a broad territory. It covers a lot of things. Can you explain to us kind of what falls under your direction?
Respiratory services entails outpatient pulmonary function testing, outpatient EEG testing, outpatient EKG testing. We do all that on inpatients also, but we have a very large outpatient service line that we do Monday through Friday. We have a 4-bed sleep lab that is actually located in the medical office building next to the hospital. We also do within respiratory, which I know doesn't remind you of lung therapy, but we also do wound care and hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which is basically kind of what ties wound care in with respiratory, is the whole hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which is run under respiratory therapy. And then we do all the respiratory services for inpatients. We do all the breathing treatments, ventilator management, BiPAP, CPAP management. Basically anything that deals with lung health is basically under respiratory services. Okay, that's good to know. Yeah. So tell me about yourself first, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the other things you do. About myself. Let's see, I've been at Kingman Regional Medical Center now a little over 2 years. Okay. I moved here from Cincinnati, Ohio. My parents were kind of motivated to move a little bit because they retired a couple years ago. Here too? They come down here as snowbirds. They're here anywhere from 3-4 months a year, so I get to see them. Great. Which is really nice. It's kind of a win-win, and the weather here is so much better than Ohio. Yes, yes. So I have to admit, it's not been a hardship to move here. And I just love Kingman. Everyone's here so nice and friendly, and a lot of it I think is because there are so many of us that aren't from here. It's so easy to meet people, and everyone's so friendly, and I just couldn't have asked for a better hospital to work for. This hospital is so wonderful, and it's so focused on the community here. And unlike a lot of big cities hospitals, not that I didn't like my hospital in Cincinnati, but it was part of a 6-hospital system. So it wasn't as focused as Kingman Regional is on really providing the best service and best quality care to the community.
Were they for-profit?
No, they were nonprofit, but it was just
big.
So it wasn't really detail oriented. Like Kingman, since coming here, seems so focused on recruiting physicians to meet the needs of the community. My hospital was like, well, just go to a different hospital if we don't provide the service.
Oh, if you don't like it.
Yeah, you don't like it, just go somewhere else. Where here, it's very service orientated. It's very, I've never, worked at a hospital that had like great food reviews. Our cafe is has such wonderful food. I'm like, that alone is just like amazing. So it's just, Kingman's just really unique in the community because they're just so focused on, okay, this is the community need, so we're going to recruit this physician to meet that needs, or let's open this service to provide, make sure we have the best service for our patients. They just are, like with the Mayo affiliation, they just are all about, what can we do better? What can we, and I just really I feel very blessed to be part of this system and be part of this process of really focusing on the community's health.
Great. Well, and you mentioned Mayo, and I know you've been working with Mayo even before our recent announcement.
Yeah, we've been working with Mayo for since June of this year, so a few months, because unfortunately we lost our neurologist. So again, the hospital's like, well, what can we do? What can we do? So we contracted with Mayo Neurology, and their epileptologists now read our EEGs, our basically brainwave patterns to kind of rule out dizziness and epilepsy and seizures and a lot of things in your brain. I've learned so much about this since we started this process. You know, can be drug related. You know, so many different things can affect, you know, your brain, and basically they take these studies that run anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour and a half, and they read them and then help the local physicians determine what's going on with that patient as a diagnostic tool. And because we've struggled so much with getting a neurologist here and having that service available, they've just, I mean, Mayo will read them stat. They'll call the physician directly. Right. The reports are, you know, get into the patient's report in a really timely manner. And they're just, I mean, they literally let my EEG techs go to Mayo and work with their techs to learn.
But being here.
Yeah, and help us write all the protocols.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's been such a great learning experience for my respiratory therapists and to benefit from being able to provide this service. And by doing this, we can now actually do it on inpatients 24/7,
Wow.
and on outpatients we do it Monday through Friday. And it's,
well, in the past we'd have had to ship people.
yes, we've had to ship people, or you know, the reports were you know, not over, yeah, not you know, not timely, the reporting feature. Or what's really nice too is you had to get a referral to see a neurologist to get an EEG
again,
done.
leave town probably because we didn't have one here.
Right, and so what happens now is any physician in the area can order an EEG. They can come to the hospital, have it done, have this fabulous service from Mayo read it, because they just are such a great group of doctors. There's 6 of them that we deal with, and they read it, and then your physician can then act on it, or actually the neurologists and epileptologists at Mayo can actually call your physician directly. I mean, they're that service orientated to answer any questions or any issues, or if they really see something disturbing on the EEG, they'll call the doctor directly, because we include that on the study. So they really are interactive, they're really supportive, they're, you know, literally 24/7, they're willing to help us out whenever we need it. So it's been a huge, and the reports are so detailed. I mean, it's just been a real benefit, I think, for our community to have this service and not have to, you know, worry about finding a neurologist outside of the area.
Right. And that's always a challenge. We've talked about that on the show in the past, on recruiting and bringing physicians here. Of course, if they just figured out, like we know already, how awesome Kingman is, I don't know why they have a problem understanding that. But
I don't either.
In the meantime, until they figure that out, it is good that we have Mayo now as literally a backup for us. And it's going to allow us to keep more of our patients in Kingman.
Yes.
And we've talked, too, on the show in the past, how when someone's sick and their family's already worried about them, and then to have to life flight them to whether it's to Vegas or Phoenix,
that'd be really scary.
It's scary, it's expensive, and because they're going to have to stay in a hotel room to be with them, you know, at the hospital. You're surrounded by strangers versus being able to have your family and friends around you.
I know, it makes a big difference to be able to provide, and for this size of community to have all these services just has always amazed me.
I know, yeah, me too. I'm very proud of it.
Yes.
Obviously we both are.
Yeah.
So
we like our jobs.
That's right, and we work for the best, so
that's
it
right.
helps. And real quick, I was going to go back. You mentioned, you know, you came from Ohio now. So have you been in respiratory a long time?
Yes, yeah, well, probably longer than I want to say, but yes, I've been, I graduated from college in the early 90s from Boise State University.
Yay.
Go Broncos. And so my alma mater, my Bluefield, so they're doing fabulous in football this year, so I have to give them a little plug. But yes, and from there I moved to Ohio, where I had an opportunity to become director of a hospital there, and then, you know, once my daughter graduated from high school and went away to college, it was just like, hey, all my family's here, so let's move where better weather and
very good,
closer to family, and so it worked out really well.
I'm glad. That's good, and we're lucky to have you here.
Thanks.
Excited to have that as well. So we're going to talk a little bit about the sleep lab, and then some of the other services now that we're moving into that's new, that people probably don't know about. So first, let's talk about the sleep lab. We had Mark Harmon on the show a few weeks ago talking about the sleep lab and kind of how that works.
Yes, Mark's great. I bet he's actually from Washington State, from the Seattle area, and we were very fortunate to be able to get him as our supervisor. He's so knowledgeable about sleep, has been in it a lot of years, works very closely with Dr. Matheny, who is the only local board-certified sleep doctor. And his partner in crime, Dr. Wynn, is, I guess, going to get board-certified soon.
Great.
So soon we'll have two.
That'll help relieve
we
a
have
little
a 4-bed sleep lab, that's open pretty much 24, 7 days a week. All the sleep studies, of course, are done in the evening. Right. We do now, currently, we've started doing what's called daytime studies, or PAP naps. And what they are is kind of it's not really a new concept, it's just kind of new to us because we started doing it a couple months ago, is if you have a patient that really is claustrophobic, but from, possibly having to wear a mask, or they came in and got set up on a BiPAP or CPAP with a mask, but a year or 2 years later, it's just not really feeling right or working for them. Instead of coming in for a full study again, they can come in, get set up with the, a few of the probes, not the full-blown thing, and spend, anywhere from like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, depending on how long it takes, really just relaxing and having their equipment on, and then working one-on-one with somebody to determine what the problem is. Because our goal will always be making sure that if you have sleep apnea or essential sleep apnea where you stop breathing during the night, that you wear your equipment, because the equipment, the sleep therapy equipment, is designed to promote better health, promote sleeping, which you need to heal, and sleep's been directly linked to weight gain and diabetes and congestive heart failure and so many other really negative conditions that you can have.
And breathing, I mean,
yeah,
because it's your oxygen, right?
Yeah, breathing.
That's kind of how it
if you stop breathing,
issue.
basically you stop, you lower your oxygen level in your body has to work harder. It's just overall, then you're sleepy during the day, you're not really functioning as well as you can. It's just, I mean, Mark can explain it so well. There's so many things involved that it's just so important that you wear your BiPAP or CPAP, and if you if you have a problem with it, that's what these little PAP naps do for you.
That's interesting. I was thinking too, as you were talking, that what about folks that work nights, that maybe sleeping at night isn't what they do.
Right.
So could they come in during
they can actually come in during the day and get a sleep study done. So we're kind of doing it days and nights now. We're finding that some people need that daytime, sleep study, or the PAP nap, or, just a little more help, because it worked great initially, but now there's a problem. And some of it could be, patients lost 50 pounds, or they've unfortunately gained more weight, or their health status has changed, and there's something new going on with them that might affect their sleep pattern, so they need to be reevaluated. I was just thinking maybe that applies to me then. I've lost some weight too, and I haven't been in to have mine reevaluated. Maybe I need to do that. Yeah, so you can, instead of taking a whole night, and a lot of people feel uncomfortable coming in, to a strange environment all night, which is, we really try our best to make that person feel as comfortable as possible, but I don't know that you can ever feel 100% comfortable in someone's strange bed. Well, we'll touch base a little bit more. We're going to talk about that again after the messages here. We'll be right back, okay? Hold that thought. All right. Thanks, Tony. We'll be right back after these messages.